World-famous bedtime stories from Mom. Today's story is Peter Pan. On a night when the starlight shone exceptionally beautifully, Wendy and her siblings embarked on a journey into sweet dreams. The house was quiet and outside only the starlight softly illuminated the path. On this peaceful night, the small stars seemed to breathe, creating a mystical scene as if they were exhaling. Then something magical happened. Wendy's bedroom window opened wide as if waiting for someone, and then Peter Pan and the fairy Tinker Bell quietly and carefully entered through the window. For Peter Pan, this place was not unfamiliar. He had secretly visited Wendy's room several times before and once realized that he had lost his shadow. He had returned to Wendy's room that night to find it. Fairy Tinker Bell sprinkled glowing fairy dust, lighting up the room brightly. Peter Pan quietly approached Wendy and her siblings, who were deep in sleep, looking at them with curiosity filled in his eyes, his heart swelling with the hope of finding his lost shadow. The room was quiet, with only the sound of Wendy and her siblings breathing. Peter Pan and Tinker Bell quietly searched the room, exchanging glances. The sparkling fairy Tinker Bell sat on the cuckoo clock, her glowing fairy dust lighting up the room. When Wendy woke up and discovered the mystical guest, she exclaimed in amazement and admiration, calling her beautiful. However, Tinker Bell did not like the compliment and grimaced at Wendy, loudly exclaiming she was ugly. Seeing this, Peter Pan burst into laughter, and Wendy, seeing Peter Pan laugh, felt warmth in her heart. She was charmed by Peter Pan's cute appearance and gave him a light peck on the cheek. Tinker Bell, feeling jealous, became angry and pulled Wendy's hair hard. Wendy was surprised and hurt but did not get angry at Tinker Bell. Instead, she wondered why the little fairy acted this way. Peter Pan tried to calm the situation, moving between Wendy and Tinker Bell. Peter Pan found his shadow in the wardrobe, where it lay forlornly in a corner of the darkness. When Peter Pan cried out that his shadow wouldn't stick to him, his cries echoed through the room. Wendy comforted Peter Pan, telling him not to cry, and carefully sewed the shadow back onto Peter Pan's feet with a needle and thread. Her touch was gentle and caring. As the shadow reattached to his body, Peter Pan jumped for joy and promised to give Wendy an acorn necklace as a token of his gratitude. His voice was filled with thanks and joy. At that moment, the friendship between Wendy, her siblings, and Peter Pan deepened. Wendy's warm heart and Peter Pan's pure joy made the night even more special. Sewing Peter Pan's shadow back on was not just a simple act but the first step in understanding and helping each other in their friendship. Peter Pan walked towards the window, saying he needed to return to the Island of Dreams. His voice carried longing and responsibility. Wendy begged him not to leave, promising to tell him many interesting stories. Her voice was filled with desperation. However, Peter Pan, pulling Wendy's arm, persuaded her to come to the Island of Dreams to hear the stories together. His eyes sparkled with the thrill of adventure. Wendy hesitated but couldn't hide her excitement, agreeing it was a wonderful idea. However, she worried about not being able to fly. At that moment, Peter Pan received sparkling dust from Tinker Bell and sprinkled it on Wendy and her siblings, saying, "You can fly too." Following these words, as the magical dust was sprinkled, Wendy and her siblings soared high into the sky. Their faces were filled with incredible joy and astonishment. As they flew, Peter Pan suddenly announced loudly that they had arrived. Wendy looked around in astonishment, thinking the scenery of waterfalls and swans unfolding before her was like something out of a dream. However, the peaceful moment was shattered by the sudden sound of cannon fire, changing the atmosphere to tension. Peter Pan shouted that it was Captain Hook and ordered everyone to flee. His voice was filled with tension. Captain Hook was a notorious pirate who had faced Peter Pan several times before. Once, Peter Pan cut off Hook's right hand and threw it to a crocodile, which led Hook to wear a hook ever since. Wendy and her siblings felt a mix of fear and excitement upon hearing this legendary story. They started to fly away quickly, cutting through the sky at all possible speeds to escape the pursuing danger. Jealous Tinker Bell flew to the Island of Dreams ahead of the others and lied about Wendy. She told the children of the Island of Dreams that Peter Pan had ordered them to kill the girl who was coming with him. Fooled by her lie, the children of the Island of Dreams shot an arrow at Wendy as she approached, and the arrow flew towards her through the air. Wendy was struck by the arrow and fell to the ground. When Peter Pan arrived at the scene, he was shocked and asked about Wendy's condition. Peter Pan asked Wendy if she was okay, his voice mixed with surprise and despair. However, Wendy, lying on the ground, told Peter Pan that the arrow had hit the acorn necklace, so she was fine. She spoke softly and quietly. Peter Pan was angry at Tinker Bell's actions, but Wendy stopped him from scolding her. Thanks to Wendy's warm heart, Peter Pan eventually decided to forgive Tinker Bell. Later, Peter Pan announced to the children of the Island of Dreams that Wendy would become their new mother. Hearing this, all the children were overjoyed, as they had longed for a mother for a long time. The children led Wendy to their underground home, a cozy haven for the children of the Island of Dreams. Wendy accepted her role as their mother, cooking for them, sewing, telling stories, and washing their clothes. The children were deeply grateful for Wendy's love and care and truly regarded her as family. Wendy's presence brought new happiness and stability to the children of the Island of Dreams. One day, as Wendy was telling the children an old story about a family of 5 living together, she spoke warmly and gently about how the parents must have felt when their children flew away to the Island of Dreams. Listening to the story, Wendy's siblings felt heartache and tearfully asked to go home, missing their parents. Wendy hugged her siblings and told the children that they would all go home together. The children of the Island of Dreams were surprised but happy at the proposal. They were filled with joy and excitement at the thought of going home. Hearing this news, the children of the Island of Dreams jumped joyfully. The mere thought of returning home filled their hearts with happiness. Wendy, her siblings, and the children of the Island of Dreams all began preparing to return home. Before leaving the Island of Dreams, it was important to drink a strengthening potion. The children drank this potion for the last time before departure, celebrating as if at a festival. However, Peter Pan sat alone on the side with a sad face, unlike the other children who did not drink the potion. Wendy, worried, asked Peter Pan if he was ready to leave. But Peter Pan firmly decided not to leave with Wendy and the children. Wendy and the children were shocked to learn that Peter Pan could not leave the Island of Dreams. Eventually, Wendy and the children left Peter Pan alone in the underground house and departed. Peter Pan felt like he was about to cry after being left alone. His heart was torn between not wanting to send Wendy and the children away and the strong desire to protect the Island of Dreams. Suddenly, pirates appeared from the darkness of the forest and stealthily captured Wendy and the children. Peter Pan, unaware of Wendy and the children's capture, cried from sadness and exhaustion until he fell asleep. Captain Hook, watching Peter Pan from the shadows of the forest, smirked with satisfaction, calling Peter Pan a little rascal. Carefully, Captain Hook poisoned Peter Pan's medicine bottle and returned to the pirate ship as if nothing had happened. This plot brought great danger to the Island of Dreams. If Peter Pan drank the poison potion, his life would be at risk. Captain Hook's plan was ambitious, aiming to eliminate Peter Pan and take complete control of the Island of Dreams. Meanwhile, Wendy and the children, dragged to the pirate ship, were unaware of the danger they faced. Tinker Bell, who had been secretly watching, witnessed Captain Hook's entire plot. She hurriedly woke Peter Pan and informed him that the pirates had captured Wendy and all the children. Peter Pan's heart raced upon hearing this news. He reached for the medicine bottle to gain strength to save Wendy. At that moment, Tinker Bell urgently warned him that the bottle contained poison. However, Peter Pan, remembering Tinker Bell's past lies, did not believe her words. Tinker Bell, with no other choice to save Peter Pan, snatched the bottle and drank it herself. Her action stemmed from pure courage and love for Peter Pan. After drinking the potion, Tinker Bell's light began to fade. This moment was her sacrifice for the safety of Peter Pan, Wendy, and the children. Peter Pan, crying, begged Tinker Bell not to die and admitted his mistakes. His voice was filled with desperation and sorrow. At that moment, Peter Pan's sincere tears fell precisely on Tinker Bell's heart. As the tear touched Tinker Bell, something amazing happened. Tinker Bell told Peter Pan that she could come back to life because he believed in her sincerity. Tinker Bell's body began to emit a sparkling light, which at first was small and faint but gradually became brighter and stronger. Eventually, the light illuminated the entire Island of Dreams, signaling Tinker Bell's miraculous recovery. This miracle was the result of the deep love and trust between Peter Pan and Tinker Bell. Peter Pan stealthily approached the pirate ship, his steps light and cautious. Amidst the twinkling stars in the night sky, his heart beat with a strong determination to save Wendy and the children. The pirate ship was ominously quiet, and Peter Pan moved like a shadow among the pirates. What caught his eye was the sight of the bound children, who sparkled with hope instead of fear upon seeing Peter Pan. Peter Pan whispered to the children not to worry and announced his arrival. His hands quickly and precisely freed the children one by one. Then, from the other side of the pirate ship, Captain Hook's ominous voice was heard. Peter Pan bravely challenged Captain Hook to face him. His voice was filled with resolve, and the duel between the two began on the pirate ship. The sound of clashing swords and fierce battle filled the ship. After a long fight, Captain Hook, overpowered by Peter Pan, fell into the sea. As he fell into the water, he screamed for mercy, and the waiting crocodile swallowed him. The children cheered upon witnessing this scene, shouting that Peter Pan had defeated Captain Hook. The children's cheers filled the pirate ship with a song of freedom. Peter Pan became a hero for defeating the pirates and saving the children. His bravery deeply moved everyone. The battle on the pirate ship was more than just a victory, it left a lesson that justice, friendship, and courage can overcome evil. Peter Pan and the children hugged each other, affirming that their friendship and spirit of adventure would last forever. Finally, the children flew powerfully back to Wendy's house. Their hearts were filled with joy and excitement. Wendy suggested to Peter Pan that he live with them in their house. Wendy and the children clung to Peter Pan. At that moment, Peter Pan's heart was torn with various emotions. He wanted to live with Wendy but felt averse to becoming an adult and sad about saying goodbye to his friends. Peter Pan's voice was filled with affection and regret. Afterward, Peter Pan and Tinker Bell returned to the Island of Dreams. They decided to continue their free and adventurous life on the Island of Dreams. The Island of Dreams was always ready to welcome them warmly. Meanwhile, Wendy, her siblings, and the children of the Island of Dreams lived happily ever after in Wendy's house. They formed a new family, caring for and loving each other. Wendy's house became a safe and happy haven for them. This story shows that although Peter Pan and his friends chose different paths, their friendship and love remained unchanged forever. Thank you for listening to the end. Click on the playlist for more stories. Your subscription, likes, and notifications greatly support me.